Hi everyone, welcome back. Just been thinking more about what happened at school, some of the things I often talk about. One of the things I have always had a bee in my bonnet about, or just concerned about, was people being bullies. Just hated the thought that people thought they could bully other people. It was one of those things that particularly bothered me. Here comes Bella. Hello, funny puppy, come on. Every time I sit down to do a video, she comes along and comes and sits on my lap, but she has been company for the last week or so. She's a lot of nice company she is. Yeah, so I can think of just standing at school and, I'd be standing there with mates and someone would talk about someone, call them four eyes or freckle face or call them fat, and just the stuff that people would say that's horrible to your mates. And it was like, I just had this thing inside me that I had to stand up for my mates. And even I suppose even if they weren't my mates, I'd just stand up for them and have a go back at the other people. And they'd get a shock that someone actually bothered to speak back to them. It's like they were used to having people just be intimidated and just let them get away with it. And there was something inside me. I love that as part of my being, just to stand up for them. And then the times when I just get bullied, or people try to bully me, you can think of so many circumstances. Probably the first one that comes to mind, I went to Lidcombe Bars for school, for swimming training, sport, whatever it was. And you get the bus, and on the way back, you get in the back of the bus, and there's the very back seat, and there's room for 5 people. Of course, we'd squash 6 of us into there, and I was sitting in the middle. And while sitting in the middle of there, a particular person walked in. I think it's okay to use his name. I don't know if I think it was his surname. I might have it wrong, but anyway, he came up to me in the back of the bus and said to me, "Prestwich." He beeped a bit, I suppose, swore at me, said, "Prestwich, get out of there, that's my seat." There's 6 of us. I was even surprised he even knew my name. I don't know how he even knew my surname. And he just popped up and said this to me and said, "Get out of my seat." So what did I say to him? No. Nothing more, nothing less. Just said no. He said, "Prestwich, I told you to beep beep and get out of my beep seat." Second time. So I looked at him and I said, "No." I mean, going through my mind is, what right has he got to tell me to get out of the seat? And it was interesting because in this case, usually the bullies will have 6 on their side and me by myself. This one, it was me with my mate sitting on the back seat and him coming up to me. And he said, "Prestwich," third time. My goodness. And there's something about, I think, my father and people are saying things at the third time. And third time he said to me, "Get out of my seat. Told you to get out of my seat." Now, I know this is crazy, but it's like it comes up from my toes. Interesting meeting one of my cousins who I never met until a few years ago in Sydney, and she looked at me and she said, I'm getting sidetracked here, she said, "Does it come up from your toes when people treat people wrongly?" And I looked at her and I went, my goodness, someone who understood. And I said, yes. I said, it just like it bubbles up from your toes, and there's something in our makeup, maybe. I don't know if it's a genetic thing. I don't know what it is. But, here's this complete stranger I'd met who was a few years older than me, and, who was me about 60 odd and who were a little bit older than me, talking about it. So up from my toes came this thing. I don't know why. But anyway, I'm so glad I did it. This guy's name was Petrie. Presume it was his surname. And so I'm looking at him, he's twice my size, a lot bigger than me anyway. And I said to him, "You know what, Petrie?" I don't know where this come from. I said, recently I was on holidays in Queensland. And when I was in Queensland, I drove through a suburb. And every time I saw the suburb was Petrie. And every time I saw this sign, it made me think of you, and it made me, I'm going to say it, made me want to spew. My goodness. why did I say this stuff? So Petrie looked at me, lined me up with his fist, and he could fight. He was good. I couldn't fight. I could rumble, but I couldn't fight. And so he belted me. Well, he tried to belt me. The trouble was, or the good thing was, I was used to seeing a fist come at my face, so my reflexes were pretty good, so I ducked and swerved as the fist come towards me. Interesting part is I didn't put my hands up, I don't think, I just swerved. And he got me, but he didn't get me in the nose or in the jaw. He got me somewhere, he got me good. And so what's my reaction to him after that? I had to laugh. And then I said, you think you're tough because you're bigger than me, don't you? I don't think it was small man syndrome. It was more than that. It was just standing up against injustice and people who think they can bully you. It never meant that I hated him, but I hate the bullying. I see as a teacher, I see all these kids that bully people, and I hate bullying. And I must say it's still my nature to love the bully, but I hate what they do. And you just see this thing, and he didn't know what to do. I stood up to him. Well, didn't even stand up to him. I sat down to him, but I just didn't take it from him. He turned around with his tail between his legs, walked away, didn't know what to do. Interesting, playing football. I don't know why he was in the team, but for some reason he was in our team. I think it was back in year 10. And I volunteered to play for the opposing side. The reason I volunteered is we turned up to play a school, and there's 13 a side in rugby league, and this school only had 7 players, and for some reason the teacher said, I don't know if it was true, but the ref said, well, the game can't go ahead with only 7. There's a law saying you have to have a minimum of 8. I don't know if it's true, but that's my memory. So they said, someone want to volunteer to play for the other side? And I went, me. Load of fun. Oh, so good playing for the other side. And I can remember one of the moments in playing, I just had so much fun tackling my mates. And Petrie come through, he wasn't one of my mates. And I remember grabbing him by the arm and swinging him around, even though he's a lot bigger than me, and slamming me into the ground, and it was quite a satisfaction. I didn't believe in God. I wasn't a Christian or anything like that. It was just one of those moments where I did a payback and got him. So then forgot about that, went on with the game, and I can remember all my big mates, because they were bigger than me because I was little. Every time they get the ball, I hit them with all I had. I think we lost something like 60-0, but it was one of the most enjoyable games of my life. It was actually a bit of an awakening for me. It was when I suddenly realised I could actually do stuff on the rugby league field. I'd been brought up in music. I didn't really even know until shortly before that what rugby league even was. I didn't play football. Did a lot of running and kicking a football, but not playing football. And anyway, so I didn't realise I was pretty hopeless on the rugby league field, but they were desperate, so they put me in the team. The interesting part was, I remember there was a moment in the game when one of my big mates was coming running down the side of the field, and he's right near the sideline, and I came over and I hit him with everything I had. And I drove him sideways and pushed him over the sideline. And he jumped up and he said to me, Rob, why don't you normally tackle like this? And I said, these were the words. I didn't explain. I just said, you're my mate. All I said is, you're my mate. And he looked at me funny. And anyway, next week we get to kick off for the football game, and this guy comes up beside me. He said, see that biggest guy down there? He said, I'm going to kick the ball to him. He's your best mate. Oh my goodness, didn't I get the message? What a moment in my life. You just think about words and the effect of words, what they have on people. And I often think as a teacher, just a few words can mean so much at the right time. There's lots of Bible verses and Proverbs about the right word at the right time is like a picture of gold in a setting of silver, and oh my goodness, that's the importance of a right word. And so anyway, he kicked the ball off, or someone kicked the ball off to this big guy, and I ran down as fast as I could, which isn't very fast by the way, and he got the ball. He was big, and I hit him with my shoulder in the stomach, picked him up and drove him backwards. And it was a real shock to me because I was scared of the big guys because I thought it would hurt me to tackle the big guys. But all of a sudden it was the whole turning point, and just treated him like they were my mates, and found out they were a lot softer than I thought they were, and they weren't as tough as I thought they were. Mind you, I did run into a couple of guys who were tough. One in particular, I went to tackle one that day, and he was slim, not particularly big, probably, that much taller than me. And when I hit him, I felt like I hit a brick wall. Actually, I felt like I hit a sack of bricks. And I bounced off him, and it actually hurt. He was actually tough. And there was another guy that we played against too. I can remember trying to tackle another time. He was a big guy. And this guy was actually tough. He did go on to play some first grade. And I remember hitting him. I went for a ride on his boots. Now, he was actually tough. But, back to the bullies. It was just crazy. Bullies, gangs, human nature. I remember standing at school one day, and for some reason I was by myself on the oval, big field that we had there. I don't know why I was by myself. You didn't risk it at school. Didn't leave yourself by yourself. And anyway, I'm standing there, and from behind me, someone shoved me on the ground, jumped on me. All I remember seeing was, or hearing was them going, ha ha. And I think it was probably 20 guys, one after another, while I'm laying on the ground, would run along, jump on me with their feet, land on me, jump off me and go, ha ha. And there was just one after another. Interesting, wasn't long ago I was watching something on telly, and they showed a gang doing it to people. I can't remember seeing it before or again, but anyway, that's what this gang did to me. Just bullied me. I just learnt not to stay by myself. What gangs could do. Another one that wasn't to do with school, and again with bullies and gangs, and so I always heard my father's words that bullies are not that tough. They have to have the numbers, they have to have people beside them to be able to act tough. So if you're one-on-one against them, they're not tough. They want to get the support of other people to make themselves feel better so they can pick on you. So anyway, I went to this youth group, which was Villawood Church of England. Became St Stephen's Anglican Church. Think of the names all changed. But anyway, we had this youth group I went to, and there was a bunch of, they were thugs. It was a gang. It was probably, I think it was only 7 or 8 of them, and most of them weren't that big. They were actually younger than me at the time. I was the youth group leader. Anyway, I'm at this youth group, and they decided to exert their influence. I think it was about 5 or 6 little guys and one big guy, and they come in the youth group, and they're trying to just intimidate people on the Friday night. And I remember I had my brother's guitar, which I had a loan of, which would sing some choruses, and I played guitar. I learnt guitar for it, and they picked up my brother's guitar, and I can remember him holding over my head like he's going to smash on me, and I'm more scared of my brother's guitar getting smashed than hitting me on the head with the guitar. And anyway, so this guy holds the guitar, acts like he's going to smash it over me, and I said something, I don't know. I said, if you smash that over me, it's the last thing you're going to do. Didn't mean I was going to kill him, but anyway, I just stared him down, and he backed off, put the guitar down. So then he decided to grab one of my thongs. In Australia, we call them thongs. There's some, I know when I was in Solomon Islands, they call them slippers. And they're just, flip-flops that you put on your feet. So he grabbed my thongs and took off with them. And he went outside, and it was the usual thing, 6, 7 on 1, whatever it was. And they get one of my thongs, and they throw them from one to each other, and then laugh at you and expect you to chase after it. And no. Last thing I'm going to do is chase after them. My goodness, these were guys who were younger than me. And I was used to tackling guys who were, 6'2". Some of the rep players I played against, some guys who went on to play serious rugby league. Guys who were 6'2" and big and muscly, and 18, even 19-year-olds. And these guys were only, they weren't that big. So anyway, they passed the ball, kept on passing my slippers around. And all I did is I waited till the biggest guy, who was the head of the gang, he got my thong, my flip-flops, and as he got it, I made a target for him. And I went in and hit him with my shoulder, like tackling in a rugby league game. I picked him up and just slammed him on the ground, and I said, "Stop it, no more." He got up, he told him no more, and gave him my flip-flops back, which was really nice. And that was the end of it. Yeah, just these moments in life where you wonder whether how much it could have backfired at times. But yeah, just had a thing about bullies. Like I'm saying, so at schools I hear about kids bullying. Oh my goodness. Yeah, they need help for starters. It's sad, really, that they need help. I mean, it's just gone on through my life, just things that happen where people try to bully me. Probably enough for now. That's my one about bullies. I hope you enjoy.